Welcome to the first lesson in our next unit. In the next unit of English Inquiry, we'll be conducting English Inquiry into mathematics. Let's look at our concepts for this course. Our key concept is logic. Logic is a skillful and good way of thinking. Our related concept is representation. Numbers can be represented in many ways. For example, in charts and graphs. Finally, our global context is orientation in space and time. How can we put these together to create a statement of inquiry? During this unit, there are three goals. First, understanding and knowing. Well, knowing and understanding, I guess. There are three things that you'll do. First, you will listen to or read a math problem. Next, you will use the correct mathematical process. And last, you will give your answers in writing or speaking. So let's check what that means. First, you will listen to or read math problems. This is very easy to understand. Next, you must choose the correct mathematical process. Will you use plus or addition, minus or subtraction, divide or division, or will you use times or multiplication? If you can understand and write the problems, understand all of the problems and answer all of the problems correctly, then you can have 7 or 8. Now let's look at C, communicating. For communicating, first you will practice saying math problems in English. Next, you will listen to and read mathematics expressions. And finally, you will speak and write using mathematical expressions. So, if you can say all of the expressions well, then you'll have 7 or 8. And if you can understand all of the problems well, then you can have 7 or 8. Finally, you will solve word problems. First, you will read the word problems. Next, you will analyze the word problems. Remember, analyze means study. In Unit 1, we studied the structure of paragraphs and essays. In Unit 2, mathematics, we will study the contents. Last, you will give your answer. D is applying mathematics in real life situations. So, sometimes the answer is more than just saying the mathematical answer. Let's try. So, here we are, and I'm about to try some of these activities. So, of course, I have my pen case, which means I have all of the different colored pens I need to analyze word problems. In our first lesson, we practiced saying mathematical expressions. First, let's look at those a little bit. We learned that addition can be said in several ways. First, we could say 20 plus 70 equals 90. We also learned how to use the word sum. We could ask, what is the sum of 20 and 70. It's 90. So we can use the word sum. We also used the word add. Add 20 to 70. You get 90. So we ended up with 3 different ways of saying this problem. That's 3 different expressions. Now, let's look at this problem. In this problem, we could use the word minus. 42 minus 41 equals 1. But we could also use the word difference. And we could ask the question, what is, no more space again, what is the difference between 42 and 41? It's 1. We can also use the word subtract. Subtract 41 from 42. You get 1. So now we have 3 ways of expressing addition and subtraction. Now let's move on to division. With division, we only used one expression. We used the word divide. So 16 divided by 4 is or equals 4. Last, with our multiplication, we used the word times and multiplied by. So 60 times 8, or 60 multiplied by 8 is or equals, what's the answer? It's now it's time to start analyzing some English expressions for mathematical concepts. Now, I'm going to be using a few different colors. If there's a word I don't know, I'll use blue. Of course, I also have my blue pen. And if there's a word that I think is important, or information that's important, I'll use pink or red. Also, I might use a few other colors. Let's begin. The boy ate 10 grapes. Ate 10 grapes. I think that's important. And the number is 10. The girl ate 12 grapes. I think that's important. And the number is 12. Here's the question. How many grapes did they eat? How many and eat? Okay, I'm ready to answer the question. But before I do, I want to think about representation. I can represent this word problem in several ways. First, I could write 10 plus 12 equals 12 equals 22. Of course, I'll have to label my answer. So 22 grapes. But I could also write an English sentence. They ate 22 grapes. Finally, I could draw a picture. The boy had 10 grapes. The girl had 12 grapes. So altogether, there were 22 grapes eaten. And I guess since it's eaten, I'll have to show that they're gone. Now let's move on to the second answer. John is reading a book. Okay, John is reading a book. The book has 125 pages. This is obviously going to be important. 125 pages. John read 64 pages. How many more pages are there? Well, I don't really understand more. So, what's this? How many more? I'll ask the teacher. Now that I've asked the teacher, I understand the problem, and I'm ready to express my answer. So first, I'm going to draw a picture of a book. And I will show that he has read 64 pages by putting the number 64 here and 65 here. And in total, there are 125 pages. Next, I'll write out the problem. 125 minus 64, and I'll draw my equals line. Then 5 minus 4 equals 1, and 12 minus 6 equals 6. So I know that there are 61 pages left. Now I'm ready to move on to the next one. The teacher has 113 pencils. She will give them to her students. She has 27 students. How many pencils should she give to each student? Well, again, there's a word I'm not sure about, but I also see that there are 113 pencils and 27 students. And I also see the word give. So she's giving these to her students. Now, I need to check on the word should. Okay, I've checked, and I understand that how many pencils should she give to each student means what's the best number to give to each student. Now, I'm ready to do the work. So, first, I'll write my icons. There are 113 pencils, and there are 27 students. So I think I must use division, and I will use division for this problem. That means I need to do 113 divided by 27. Well, 25 times 4 is 100, and 2 is 100, and that would leave me with too many, and this is 27. So I think I'm going to try 4. And if I do 4 times 27, I get 108. So that means there are 5 pencils remaining. The answer is 4, remainder 5, and we call this remainder. So how do I answer the question? Can I answer 4, remainder 5 pencils? No, that's not a good answer. Instead, I need to consider how the pencils should be given to students. She should give 4 pencils to each student. And what about the 5? I should say something about that. She can keep 5 pencils for next year or next week. Well, now I have an answer for this. It's time to look at the last problem. The Omiya Stars basketball team had a game. 7 players scored 4 baskets each. 7 players scored 4 baskets each. And what is each? I need to think about each. 3 players scored 6 baskets each. And once more, this word each has popped up. What do I do? Each basket is 2 points. Again, each. 2 points. So I need to check on the meaning of each. Now I'm ready to do my work. I see that there are 7 players. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 players, and each of them scored 4 baskets. Four baskets. And there were 3 players, 1, 2, 3, and these players scored 6 baskets each. So that means to calculate the total number of baskets, I need to write an equation, a mathematical expression that says 7 times 4 plus 3 times 6. And this will tell me the total number of baskets. So 7 times 4 is 27. And 3 times 6 is 18. And if I add 27 to 18, what do I get? I get 45. But I'm not finished because it said that each basket is equal to 2 points. So I need to write 45 times 2. Now, what do I get? I've made a mistake. So I said 27 instead of 28, and that means I was off. So it should be 46, and that means the answer should be 102. So they scored 102 points. And that's my answer. Now, let's go back to the rubric.